bloody and deceitful, that you shall destroy in the days of the sons of men, like in our time, that Biafra may come, and your name exalted, praised, adored, and worshipped forever and ever, we pray. He said, this evening, as I said earlier, if you do not have your pen and paper, you are missing a lot. This is a lecture, not just a broadcast, but a lecture. This evening, we shall attempt to tell you about the origin, the genesis of the jihadi movement you have in Nigeria today, this very evening, or morning, or afternoon, or night, depending on where you are. You will come to the full realization that Nigeria is so hopeless that any attempt to sustain it will lead to further bloodshed, will lead to the jihadists gaining more foothold in the south. It will lead to the utter destruction of our way of life. It will mean that we will no longer exist as a people. Anybody championing or carrying this very burden of the preservation of one Nigeria, I can assure you they are working towards your destruction as a human being and as a race of people. This is the context. What I'm trying to build this evening is just a context so you can understand it. I will try not to be too grammatical because our grandmothers are listening. People who do not say English as their preferred language of communication, it is our responsibility and our duty to ensure that they grasp the essence of this very gospel this evening, because this is a gospel. A very important one at that. We need to build a better understanding of the mess we are all in and the desire of a supposedly Christian Britain. You must understand this. You must open your brain. You must open your mind. You must begin to digest what you are hearing this evening. This very gospel is important. Very, very important, because later on I will talk about what the president of Rwanda said about the way we reason. That is the only problem. But my happiness is now we are beginning to come alive. We are beginning to show signs of the ability to digest very complex information, analyze it, and be able to do something positive with it. You must understand that Britain is a Christian entity, supposedly. They colonized the place today you call Nigeria that never existed before. You all know this history. But tonight I want you to understand the implications of living inside something created by people who no longer worship God. What you're going through now in the zoo is a phase of slavery. It's very subtle, so you don't notice. It is the worst form of neo-colonialism. Britain cannot directly colonize to have access to our vast resources. What they did was they put a house nigger in charge, and they looked all around the zoo. They couldn't have picked Nnamdi Kanu because he's learned, albeit with his flaws. They couldn't have picked Awolowo because he was learned. They went to the north to hand over power to them, because they know that they are Lamajri, they are Janjaweed. They know they are jihadists. They know they are more preoccupied with implementing and fostering their primitive way of life on other people than to be concerned with the art of good governance. Art is A-R-T, please, not act. Art of good governance. You can never get it from them. We are going through a phase of slavery, using illiterate Muslim Al-Majri in the zoo to hold everybody down in bondage. I give you a very simple example before we proceed very quickly. I want you to please tell me in which world you inhabit. Will somebody like Onogen and all the learned people who are on the bench be relegated to the background and a Sharia judge appointed as the CJN? Somebody who cannot express himself, be it in Hausa or in English. Somebody who is not enough, doesn't even understand the law. A chief justice of a secular, supposedly secular nation, or should I say a secular contraption, arguing for the inclusion of Sharia in the constitution, which means that he doesn't even understand the constitution of Nigeria, which I will explain later on. By merely introducing Sharia into Nigeria, for Obasanjo to allow the 12 Arewa core North states to introduce Sharia, what they have done effectively is to amend the constitution without going to the National Assembly. You must understand the importance and the critical nature of this very aspect of political development in Nigeria. For them to have Sharia without going through the legislature in Abuja means that they have already tampered with the constitution outside the provisions of that same constitution that kept mentioning Sharia. I'm only giving you a bit of background. So when we proceed, you can anchor what you hear on all these very critical pillars that I have mentioned just this very moment. What you have in Nigeria is an alien socio-political arrangement of which the only beneficiaries are Fulani Al-Majiri. They are the direct beneficiaries of colonialism. You must understand this. Those who are benefiting from the years of slavery and suffering of the people of the South are the North. Britain never took Christianity to them. They refused. Boko Haram that you're seeing that says Western education is dangerous was exactly the same thing the North said to the white man when they first had contact. I'm sure that some of you are now familiar with the statements and pronouncements of Olusegun Obasanjo that said how, in fact, told all of you who were ignorant before, how many years it took for the British to subdue Biafrans. You must understand the importance of that very statement. What they did was, Britain had to leave Nigeria. But for Britain to retain their control, their influence, to still be colonizing Nigeria till this very moment, they needed a house nigger to do the job for them. And who are those house niggers? They are the Al-Majiri Janjaweed, the Fulani feudal laws you have in the North. While they were busy mouthing Western education is dangerous, when they first met the British, I'm not talking about Boko Haram. This was what I'm trying to build this evening is for you to understand that terrorism, Fulanization, Islamization, they are all one and the same. Supported by the Fulani ruling class. You must understand this very well. This evening, I will unravel everything for the whole world to understand what is happening in that very zoo. While they were busy telling the white man then and people now that Western education is dangerous. After all, if it's not dangerous, why would they appoint an Alekali to come and become the CJN of Nigeria, Chief Justice of the Nation? His only experience in law is Sharia. They told you they don't need education. Buhari, when he was alive, was not educated. Of course, I concede sometimes he can speak a bit of English. If you can listen to him, that is. Or if you can hear what he's saying. No certificate, nothing whatsoever. The same thing with the CJN, because they told you that Western education is meaningless. They don't need it. And now they're proving it to you that it's not needed. Not just through terrorism, but by the appointments that they make on a daily basis. While they were busy mouthing their rubbish that Western education is dangerous, they were busy building and forging an enduring master-slave, house-nigger relationship with the British. Because the British, they know this very well, that the East will not bow. And to an extent, the West. They won't, because they're educated. That thing, you know, they know it. They went for the blind house niggers in the north and gave them leadership. That is why the current climate of violent Islamization that started with Obama. Go and check this very carefully. What you're seeing today, including the removal of Jonathan, was started when Obama got into power in the USA. And in collaboration with the then British Prime Minister David Cameron, they insisted that power must go back to the north. They insisted it must go back to the north. Tonight, hopefully, I'm going to present you with facts and figures. Not from Biafra sources, not from something local, but these are from independent think tanks abroad by editorials of newspapers that support one Nigeria. What you're going to hear is basically what other people have been saying about the zoo, about Nigeria, that you don't know about. Things that are hidden from you. Things you don't know about. These are foreign observers who in the main are sympathetic to the illiterate ruling class of the north. They love them so much. But things have so deteriorated that they can no longer tolerate it. Most of these are European observers. Most of them are from the North Americas, and some of them from Asia, and some independent commentators from Africa. Hear what they are saying about Nigeria, and that Nigeria is irredeemable. It has collapsed, never ever to rise again. I said never. What you're doing is pure cosmetics, to be honest with you. You are just deceiving yourselves, thinking that something that is unsalvageable can be salvaged. No, it cannot. And this evening, I want to begin by presenting facts and figures so you understand it. When I make a direct quote or analysis, I will tell you where we got it from. This is a publication by a group based in Europe called Religion Unplugged. I want you to understand the grand strategy to Islamize everybody. This is something, of course, to the Yoruba Muslims is nothing new. But to the rest, you better be very, very careful. They presented this analysis on March the 8th of this very year, 2019, because, of course, in Australia, they have gone into 2020. I spoke to Mazio Former earlier. Listen very, very carefully to this. This is an analysis done by Religion Unplugged. Independent analysis from a European-based think tank. They said here that during the elections of February the 23rd, listen very carefully to what they said. Forget about European observers, what those colonialists came and did in the zoo, saying the election was free and fair, which I will allude to later on. Here they said that the elections held, I'm telling you the beginning of your problems, that every 4 years it repeats itself. You keep saying, get your voter's card. Oh, come and go and vote. I'm telling you what the world is saying about that Fulanized system. INEX, anywhere you have Fulanis in power, there is always disobedience of rule of law, a breakdown of law and order, anarchy and fraud. Go and write it anywhere you find them. That is what you will get. The presidential and National Assembly elections held in Nigeria on February 23rd was characterized by violence, listen to it, violence, harassment, and malpractices. Now tell me how people can subscribe to a country where year after year, every 4 years, after every 4 years, you have the same thing. Since 1957. What is happening today did not just start, come by an accident. No, it's been that way with the zoo. Every time there's an electoral cycle, there is violence, harassment, and malpractices. They went on to say that the lines were drawn by religion. Now, those of you avoiding, I must commend Christian Association of Nigeria. At last, somehow, they are beginning to wake up. Here, international observers, people, think tanks, people who are learned and educated, people who are naturally sympathetic to the British line of argument that Nigeria must remain one. They are telling you that the elections were determined by violence, harassment, and malpractices, and that religion played a key role in it. Muhammadu Buhari's election to president was followed. This is happening in March. Remember, March of this year. They said that they feel that this regime of APC, of course, fronted by Jubril, they call him Buhari, that he has come to Islamize, in quote, Nigeria. March, independent observers, white people, outside the zoo, they are telling you that this man is coming to Islamize you. Now, the Nigerian Civil Society Situation Room, which is an amalgamation of 70 organizations, said that 260 people were killed in pre-election violence. Every 4 years, every 2 or 3 years, you have elections in the zoo and people are dying, and you don't sit down to ask yourself. This is why the West is far more advanced than any other race, I should say, or especially, or let me put it this way. Every other race is more advanced than black people. Do you know why? Because when something goes wrong, when they build a bridge and the bridge collapses, they bring in their engineers. They want to find out what materials were used in the construction of the bridge. They want to know if a robust feasibility study was done before the bridge was constructed. They want to know those that built it. They want to look at all the variables that led to the collapse of that very bridge. And when they build a new one, they will eliminate everything they feel contributed to the collapse of the previous one. That is the difference between white and black people. But when it comes to us black people, our mind is not rigorous enough to interrogate issues and get to the bottom of it. You heard that in 1999 there was violence, death. They called another election again in 2003 or thereabout. You voted again. Nothing happened until this very day. And the thing about Alamajiri is this: once they know that you don't give a damn about something, believe you me, it gets worse as the days go by. They are telling you that there are people who are killed. It didn't touch anybody. Now listen, they said the trend follows patterns in previous elections conducted by INEC. They singled out INEC for damnation. And who is running INEC? Let me ask you. He's a Fulani man. Fulani president, Fulani INEC, Fulani judiciary, Fulani House of Reps, Fulani Senate, Fulani Customs, Fulani Army, Fulani Police, Fulani Civil Defense, Fulani Customs. Only Fulani. And that is why things are getting worse by the day. Because you cannot produce what you've not been given. If a people are not educated enough or savvy enough to come into the 21st century, they're still stuck in 16th century warped political mindset, how do you think they can improve your life? How? I ask you. And they have set up a system and a structure so rigidly held down that even if you have something in your brain, once you go or walk into any office, you become like them. That's what they have done. Remember that in 2011, as many as 800, conservatively speaking, I'm trying to be conservative, verifiable figures, 800 people were killed in post-election violence. According to research conducted by Human Rights Watch. Why am I pointing all these things out? I want to establish a pattern of behavior in the zoo. I want to let you understand that those you claim are politicians, those you claim you're voting for, they lack the capacity to address the difficulties and the issues confronting you on a daily basis. In other words, Nigeria as presently constituted should not exist. I want to point out some of the perennial difficulties. I want to point out some of the entrenched problems in Nigeria that will never, ever, ever, ever go away. If you're looking for 24 hours electricity, if you want
distribution companies and the private security
inside Nigeria, it is impossible. Because there are certain factors welded to the fabric, to the foundation, the very fraudulent base of the zoo, that you can never dislodge. Never, ever, ever. It doesn't matter how many times you pray. It doesn't matter how many times you prophesy. It doesn't matter how many degrees you have. It doesn't matter how much green and white fabric you've wasted trying to convince yourself that you're patriotic. It will never go away. The analysis I'm bringing you are foreign-based observers. No, the zoo, they cannot publish such a thing for you. Never. Because they manage the news very well. They know how to bribe Google. They know how to bribe Facebook. They know how to bribe people to do whatever they want them to do. Of course, money rules and money talks. I want you to understand that the cabal is prepared. The Fulani-controlled North is prepared. I'm telling you, they are more than prepared. 10, 15 years ahead of everybody else. Some of us are going to go to church today to be mouthing the usual rubbish. But there will never be any improvement in our living conditions until we learn how to reason properly like human beings. Until we understand that Nigeria is not sustainable. What I'm giving you are facts and figures based on independent analysis and study of what is happening in the damnable zoological republic, in that hellhole called Nigeria. Human Rights Watch. In 2015 elections, many people died. They said it was peaceful. How many? I don't like people dying. Of course, I hate it. I'm not a violent person. How many people died in USA as a result of, anti-Semitic attacks against the Jewish people? And it was reported all over the world. In elections, you kill 800 people, and a human being will write and tell the world that the elections were free and fair. Incidentally, most of you don't know this. Do you know that religion, Islam versus Christianity, was the undercurrent, was basically the undercurrent throughout the campaign of 2015, and even the one that you had early this year? They said that the result from, I'm telling you this to drive home the incompatibility of the various groups. I'm not saying Christian or Muslim, no. Once you return people back to who they are, to who they were before the British came, there'll be peace. The only thing that can guarantee peace, the only thing that can stop this from slaughtering innocent, defenseless Christians in the Middle Belt and in the South, is a return to the way we were before the white man came. And it is not. See, people keep telling you this nonsense. It's for the National Assembly. If we have a democracy, if you have any gripe, take it to your MP. I don't call them MP. Take it to your senator, your House of Reps member. But I'm asking the Fulani Janjaweed, the Alamajiri, when you change the constitution from a secular constitution, a non-religious constitution, when you inserted Sharia into the laws of the zoo, when you quite literally carved out 12 states in the north to say they are Sharia states, what do you think you were doing? Did you go to National Assembly? So when it comes to other people, they should follow the due process. Go to your senator, go to your House of Reps member, so that the chamber can debate it in Abuja. But when it came to your Sharia, you wanted Sharia so desperately that some people in the South are so useless and so ignorant, they don't know that effectively 12 Sharia states in the North have broken away from the zoo. They are practicing a completely different system. That is why they can go and arrest a man in a hotel saying he was found with 3 women. That is why you cannot drink alcohol. That is why those Janjaweed contemplated banning male and females from sitting inside the same canopy in the North. You don't understand it. Some of you are too blind. When I say the thing, I hate them, we are too pompous, we say that. No, of course, I'm not saying that. What I'm trying to drive home is this, is that the way that you reason is flawed. That is why you cannot understand that when the Fulanis wanted something done so desperately, when the jihadists in the north, we are so desperate for Sharia, they did not go to Abuja to ask anybody for it. They sat on their own, they decided, and they forced Obasanjo to implement it. So when somebody is telling you about Sharia, oh, you shouldn't do this, you shouldn't agitate for Biafra, you must go through the right channel being, let it be discussed and voted upon in Abuja. You tell them who voted for Sharia to be introduced in the north. Who voted? They willingly subverted the constitution of the country. Some of you don't understand the implications of this. It means that Nigeria is running quite literally without any set of laws, no rules. They do whatever they like. After all, why would they detain somebody who's been granted bail? Why would they do that? Because they don't believe in the law. If they believed in the constitution of Nigeria, that Abdul Salami, their own fellow Al-Majri, drew up and included everything they wanted in it, there is no way they could have gone outside that same constitution to introduce Sharia in the 12 states of the north. This is just I'm only beginning. I've not even started this program very well. I'm just pointing out some things that will guide your thinking, that when we get into the substance of the involvement of the late Buhari, the involvement of Abba Kyari, El Rufai, they call him the Sultan of Sokoto, in the current wave of terrorism in the zoo, you will understand it. It's all Sharia planned and mapped out. All planned and well designed to deceive some gullible people. But you can't deceive IPOB, you can't deceive me. We are learned and highly educated, you can't deceive us. When they tell you, don't agitate, you must go to the right, we're in a democracy, ask that person, which channel did you people use Sharia northerners? Which channel did you go to before you introduced Sharia in the 2000 North? Did you go to National Assembly? Did the Nigerian Constitution ever recognize Sharia? The answer is no. It mentioned it. It never said it is a way of life for a people. But you introduced it behind the constitution. Now, when we agitate for Biafra, I say, oh, why don't you go through National Assembly? Did you go? All this Al-Majri, I'm asking you, all the Janjaweed, did you go through National Assembly? I'm saying this so that people in the West, the more moderate, reasonable people in the West in Yoruba land can be able to reason and understand what I'm saying. I don't hate anybody, but I hate fools. I can't stand people who cannot reason very well. So you're telling me it's good that one law operates for the Janjaweed, the Al-Majri in the north, and another law for people in the south? Is that what you're seriously saying? Is that what you're seriously saying? We are going to Biafra and nobody can stop us. It is they know it. Abba Kyari, who is currently forget all the nonsense, Jubril, all the makeup they put on his face. He will come out. One day his ear is cleft on the right, the other day is on the left. Nobody knows what he's doing. No. And we know that Abba Kyari is the one running the zoo with the help of the input of the cabal from the north. We know. And they are determined. They know this is their opportunity. If they miss it, they know that if the presidency were to come to the south, that they are finished. They know that very well. There will be structural reforms that will put an end to the reign of terror. That is why they will hold on for their dear lives, counting and hoping that Britain will support them. Let me also point this out. It took Britain over 30 years to overrun Biafra land. What makes you think that ordinary Al-Majri who cannot read or write can defeat us in 3 years? Just ask yourself that very simple question. Britain fought Biafra for nearly 30 years before they managed to subdue us. Do you seriously think that in a straight fight between Biafrans, Fulani, and their allies in the north, that they can defeat Biafra? Do you seriously think so? That is why they ran to Saudi Arabia, they ran to Egypt, they ran to Britain, they ran to Russia. All these countries fought against, including OAU, fought against tiny Biafra. And we held them for 3 years. It was what I would call the Third World War. That is why they don't like talking about Biafra in all the political offices of the world, because they are ashamed of themselves. They know what they did. When I hear Nnamdi talk about the war, I feel sorry for the fools. Did you fight any war? It was the Egyptians who were flying your airplanes. Did you fight any war? All the logistics were provided by the British. The British ensured there was air, land, and sea blockade. When the Red Cross went to London to go and withdraw money to feed starving Biafran children, the woman was arrested and detained by the British government. Harold Wilson said that he wants more people dead in Biafra land than in the Holocaust. You think you fought us? Fulani will say, remember the war. Did you fight any war? Junaid Mohammed, did you fight any war? Andabla, did you fight any war? Did you see war? In all the, should I say, some of the theaters of war that we've had in recent times, including the ECOMOG missions and all the rest of it, how many Fulani people were there in the front line fighting? Buratai that you see today, has he seen battlefield before? Buratai, the chief of army staff. That is why, because he's never seen war before. He doesn't understand what a soldier is supposed to do. That is why there are in marketplaces harassing women who are selling crayfish. He's not a soldier. No genuine soldier will go to harass civilians. The reason why you have dictatorships in Africa is because their soldiers don't even fight wars. All they do is harass. Look at Ethiopia that's fought a war before. How there is freedom and progress, because soldiers know if you call them to go and kill, they will tell you no, they will not go. They have seen war before. You have Al-Majiri in the north. They have never seen any war. The only war they have seen is to fly their helicopter to Kuje to make sure that I'm in prison. The only war they have seen is coming to Biafra land to kill unarmed protesters. The only war they have seen is to come down and massacre people who are praying. Because Britain is supporting them, because Britain is covering their back, so to speak. Daddy Britain is there. They can do whatever they like. Abakari can do whatever he likes. Britain will protect him. Because it is in the British interest that a Fulani man is in power. It is in the interest of Britain, not all of Britain, some people, some key people. It is in their interest that Al-Majri is in power, because they know once Al-Majri is in power, people will be selling their generators now, because there will never be any light. You'll be selling sumo, because they know there will never ever be pipe bomb water. Never. It's impossible. People will be digging their boreholes all the time. Their pharmaceutical companies will be making so much money, because every time you be sick, if not malaria, it's typhoid. And all the medicines are coming from abroad. You think they don't know what they're doing? You think they don't know? So it is in the interest of neo-colonialists that Al-Majri is in power, because they know they cannot do, they know that they are useless, beyond useless. Are you telling me that in a normal world, Britain, who is the colonial master of the zoo, somebody as stupid as Tanko, a Sharia judge, was appointed the chief justice of the common law system, that Britain will not say anything? You heard, during all our fights to free Shore, Dasuki, and El Zagzagi must be free. We need to fight for him as well. Of course, it was very foolish of them to burn US and Israeli flags. Very, very foolish of them to do so. But we must fight for El Zagzagi to be released. Did Britain ever say anything? It was only the time that US senators started complaining that Britain now had the courage to send out a tweet to say you must release Shore or respect the rule of law. Only when we have done the hard work on the ground in America are they now coming out to say, oh, you must release him. But Britain has been there from day one. They see evil happening. British High Commissioner in Abuja, they see Satan, they see Lucifer with their two eyes in that rock. They keep quiet because of what they are gaining. Because of what they are gaining. Thankfully, not many people in Britain are as evil as some of them that write their foreign policy, to be honest with you. They are pure evil. I will continue. Religion has been there from day one. It's not going to go away. They said that the population is half and half, 91 million Muslim, 91, rubbish, pure bunkum. You must understand this very, very clearly. Very, very clearly. Please listen to this very, very clearly, please. In spite of everything they have done, they said Atiku picked Obi and Abakari answering the name Buhari through Jubril picked Osibajo, who is the two Southern Christians, as they said. It did not stop Islam and religion being a key part of the election. Now listen to this carefully. Some of you don't know what is happening in the zoo, but I will tell you tonight anyway. We have time. There is a leader of an extremist Islamic sect called Izala, I-Z-A-L-A, Sheikh Sani Yahaya Jingir. Sheikh Sani Yahaya Jingir. He spoke in a video in Hausa language and asked his followers never ever to vote for the PDP candidate who was Atiku then, despite the fact Atiku is a Muslim. Do you know his reason why? These are people that tomorrow say, oh, Nigeria, we must do everything we can to keep Nigeria united. I'm saying this tonight so that Igbo Efulefu governors can listen. The idiotic politicians can listen. Every fool planning for 2023, 2098, 2047 can listen very carefully to what we are saying and learn from it. Not minding that Atiku was a Muslim. This man called Sheikh Sani Yahaya Jingir spoke in a video to his followers, millions of them. He said that Atiku, these are his words, Atiku's running mate is from the Igbo stock, who are Christians. They killed Abasadwana, and because of that, nobody should vote for Atiku, because if you vote for Atiku, that means you're voting for those that killed the Sadwana. Some of you have forgotten that the governor of Kaduna State now planning to come and run, and I know there are some idiots in Biafra land. There are some fools in Biafra land, entire Biafra land, who may be thinking, oh, I'm very poor, I'm wretched, oh my goodness, why don't I support Nasser El-Rufai's candidacy? Maybe money will come to me and my family. That very selfish way of reasoning is only about yourself. If I was thinking of myself alone, I will be a multi-billionaire in foreign currency. You don't know how to make sacrifices. All you know to do is to sabotage. All you know to do is to run to the Alamajiri because they know you will come. They know. The reason why they are dealing with Oshomole today is because they know there's an endless, it's a conveyor belt, endless supply of idiots from the south, endless supply. So if one Oshomole goes, another idiot will replace him. They know that very well because you're all very hungry. And before you all say, if you're hungry as well, you do something. I spent all my money funding Radio Biafra to the point that I was sleeping in a car, hungry. I didn't give up. I will go to work, make a lot of money. I will come back and I will spend it on Radio Biafra shortwave. If you think shortwave is cheap, go and try it yourself and see how expensive it is. So we've been there. Don't come and tell us nonsense. Oh, my family was hungry. Because of that, I had to sell my conscience. Some of you will fight for El-Rufai. And I will tell you what he said. He said, listen carefully to El-Rufai. These are your, when they talk about the elite and the leaders in the zoo, I'm only building I've not even started, I'm only building a background to what is happening in the zoo so that you all can learn and understand, reason and think. He spoke on Channels Television, that Alamajiri station. He said, this is from El-Rufai. What if I tell you that no matter who I choose as my running mate, even if I choose the Pope, 67% of the Christians in southern Kaduna have made up their minds that they will never vote for me. But people come ignorantly in the outside world. They say, oh, but the north is all Muslims. No, of course not. Southern Kaduna they are all Christians. But they have been subdued. The mistake that these people, Southern Kaduna, the mistake they keep making is that they keep thinking that Biafra is against them, that should Biafra go, they will suffer. No, you are making a grave mistake. Biafra is your redemption. Only Biafra, I'm telling you the truth, only Biafra can save people in that very zoo. Only Biafra can. Nothing else will. I said nothing else. No amount of restructuring, no amount of warm words. And I'm happy to hear today that Khan is saying they are fed up of the condolence message coming from Asarok. They are tired. Anytime a Christian is killed, there's a condolence message. Rubbish. They are tired. What is the solution? I want people to sit down this night or morning or afternoon, depending on where you are, to actually contemplate what the solutions are to the problems. Not just lamenting, but what are the solutions? The only solution viable is close your eyes and think of how we were before the white man came. The people that put us in this mess is the British. And it's a good thing that actually the French government have come out to say that colonialism is evil. It's the British. And because they see themselves as God, you know, they are very proud, they are God. We went to Africa, you know, those dumb monkeys, we created nations for them, and they are there. Nobody should touch the boundaries, it should be that way. Who told you that? Southern Sudan broke away, albeit there are hidden problems there. Eritrea emerged. And so will other nations emerge. Now, if it is the wish of Eritrea in the future to go and join Ethiopia in a bigger, wider, whatever country, it is their prerogative. Give it to them. That is the essence of democracy, to ask the people what they want. Isn't that what we're asking for? Isn't that what we're asking for? He said, even if I choose the Pope as my running mate, they won't vote for me. The issue is this. From the mouth, listen carefully, from the mouth of the governor of Kaduna State right now, El Rufai, he said, Kaduna State is divided. From the mouth, if Kaduna State is divided in the north, if Kaduna State is divided, how do you think you can put the country together? It is impossible. Absolutely impossible. But we don't understand. It's entirely up to them if they will or not. But we are moving on, we are marching on relentlessly. You see, I said it from the beginning. By the time God is my witness, by the time we are done with the zoo, you see the name Nigeria will no longer exist. They will answer Arewa in the north. You will answer Oduduwa or whatever name they choose, and will be Biafra. Should these people then decide to come together, or Middle Belt, if they are strong enough to stand their ground, if they are strong enough to stand their ground, they can emerge as one nation if they have one common identity or one common way of life. If a governor can say to you that Kaduna State is divided, how about Nigeria as a whole? But the impression they give is that the North is one North is a lie, deception. They want one North, but divided South, Midwest, Niger Delta, South. But in the North, they are all one North. Despite the fact that in Kaduna, you won't believe this, in Kaduna State, Christians outnumber Muslims in Kaduna. I'm not talking about Christians that came from elsewhere, from Biafra land to reside in Kaduna. No, indigenous people, southern Kaduna, there are more Christians than Muslims. You don't have such dichotomy anywhere in the South. But they give you the impression that the South is divided. No, that from the mouth of the governor of Kaduna State, on Channels TV, he said that that Kaduna State is divided. Apart from Governor El Rufai, these people also recognize that Buhari had an agenda to Islamize Nigeria, even during the campaign. When we were saying this, you didn't listen. But of course, the good thing is that it's good to be underestimated in life. If they knew how far we would go in the pursuit of Biafra under IPOB, oh my goodness, they wouldn't have let us get to where we are today. They thought we are miscreants, we are wheelbarrow pushers, they are touts, they are all those sorts of names. And the more names they call us, the more enthused, the more energized we become. And what we have done is to undermine them, and we'll keep doing it. That by the time the zoo is crumbling, it won't come to Britain as a surprise. They will see that the morons they handed over power to in the north are as useless can be. That's what we're trying to do. We are trying to say that, okay, if you're not happy with our agitation for self-determination, let us show you what they're doing in Nigeria. We will expose Nigeria to the world, and that's what we're doing. We've only done about 9% of the job. Only 9%, and the whole place is crumbling. They're not talking about restructuring because of IPOB. They know they're dreaming. They're wasting their time. The only solution is Biafra, and they understand it very, very well. Outsiders are telling you that the country called Nigeria has an Islamization agenda. Remember what Femi Adesina said, that anybody claiming that the administration has an agenda to impose Islam on Nigeria is false and wicked. That the objective is to stoke up religious division for political gains. But you had El Rufai. Here you have somebody in Asurok talking rubbish, but El Rufai said that his own state is divided along Christians and Muslims. They don't see eye to eye. Do you see the confusion that reigns at the heart of the zoo? You know, some of these Pentecostal pastors, I know that some of you will hopelessly and foolishly go to your crossover night and all the nonsense that you call it. Some of these pastors don't allow you to reason. They don't let you reason properly. I'm telling you the truth. Only if they can stand and speak and stand on the truth, you will see what will happen in the zoo. In Adamawa State, again, there is a substantial Christian population, but some of you don't know this. Adamawa, I think that's the state of Atiku Abubakar. Over the last 4 years, listen carefully, 4 years, over the last 4 years, Muslim Fulani jihadists, that is what they call them. This is an international organization, a think tank. They call them Muslim Fulani jihadists. They have destroyed Christian communities in Adamawa State. And I understand the reason why somebody from Adamawa may want to say to IPOB, oh, don't have Biafra, we want one Nigeria. Because they think that, even the Yorubas as well, they think that if they have Biafra in Nigeria, it's safer for them. At least not all of them will be killed. They are thinking, look at Christians in Adamawa, they are thinking that, oh, if Biafra should go, then their life is over. Quite literally over. Because the Muslim Fulani jihadists will kill all of them. But we are saying to them that Biafra will defend them. We will defend every Christian, wherever you are, inside Nigeria. What Trump and Johnson needs to do, because since they've come out to say, oh, we'll defend Christians, don't bring American soldiers. Only a free Biafran nation can do it. And I am saying to Christians in Kaduna, Christians in Adamawa, Christians in Niger, in all the Christian states of the Middle Belt, your only guarantee, the only way you can remain the way you are is if Biafra comes, or else forget all these warm words. We will fight for you. You'll be dying. You are being slaughtered every day. Nobody will save you. That is why Christians in Kaduna, in Adamawa, you must support the emergence of Biafra. Only Biafra can save you. Do you think we will stay in Biafra and allow them to? Of course not. And once there is Biafra, this Fulani madness will be cured overnight. It will be cured. As long as Nigeria remains one, they'll keep killing. They'll keep driving their cattle into our farms. One of our mothers today was raped to death in Ebonyi. They were caught. He said they only did one round. Have you seen the news? When I was saying that they are raping our mothers, did you believe me? When I said that what Umahi is doing in Ebonyi is the same thing that all of them do, because you don't listen very well, it will lead to the destruction of our way of life. None of you didn't listen. He said no, he's stoking, he's causing problems. And I want to assure Asorok tonight. You see, the testimony of the family of the rape victim in Ebonyi. You see the coverage in Sun newspaper and all the rest of it. Be rest assured, every frontline politician in the world will receive it. Let me see how you're going to lie through your lobbying firms that that this very information is propaganda. The family is there, they've been interviewed. We have all the records. So what we are doing is to show the world the level of primitivity, satanic primitivity inside Nigeria that nobody can cure. If these people can hide the death of Buhari from everybody, if they can try to deceive all of you cowards in the zoo, cowards who are calling other people cowards, you wretched cowards in the zoo called Nigeria, if they can deceive you and tell you that young man is Buhari and you believe you me, you have no redemption. You have no redemption. Your lives are over. Go to the same church now, do tarry night and all that nonsense. You come back the same year, no water, no electricity, no good hospitals, no good roads, the same problem, even worse next year. But at the come New Year's Eve 2020, you still go to tarry night. talking. You people, you make me sick. Absolutely sick. That I went to US, and one of our mothers said to me, I shouldn't speak out of turn before I annoy Elohim that sent me to do this very work. If not that I was sent to do this work by God Almighty in heaven, I am telling you, I will have nothing to do with. Some of you know me, I don't have any friends. What am I doing with your stupid friendship? People who cannot reason very well. The same thing you keep doing day after day, week after week, month after month, year after year. No improvement, you keep doing it. If you're lucky and you get a job, you say, oh, it's because my pastor prayed for me. When people are dying, they are slaughtering you every blessed day. Every blessed day, they are slaughtering you. It is unbelievable. Some of you will remember the former Speaker of the House of Reps. His name is Yakubu Dogara. Do you know he was also targeted as part of the elections because he's from a Christian minority in Bauchi State? Do you know there are Christians in Bauchi? Do you know that Yakubu Dogara is from Bauchi and he's a Christian? When these idiots come and tell you, oh, the whole of the North, they're Muslims, they're lying to you. And because of your cowardly nature and your fear, you see their soldiers on the streets with their AK-47, you accept and say, oh, yes, they must be, everybody in the North is a Muslim. Who told you that? Dogara is a Christian from Bauchi State. Albeit that the Muslims, they dominate because they shout, they kill, they slaughter. And all the Christians are afraid, they're all frightened. Oh, please don't say anything. Oh. You know, we are one Nigeria. If you say something, they will kill you. You know, we are one Nigeria. And you keep emboldening them, and they keep coming, and they keep killing. They keep coming, and they keep killing. Now, listen very carefully. There is a man called, he's a professor, Al-Majidi professor, Professor Salisu Shehu. He placed an advertorial in Daily Trust newspaper ahead of the last elections in the zoo in February of this year. A full-page advertorial. Do you know what he said? He accused Dogara of neglecting Muslims who were displaced in the state after sectarian violence. You know what they do? As we are trying to stop them in Ebonyi State, they come in, they bring Al-Majidi from outside. They start a war. They start killing people. And once the army come in to say, oh, maintain peace and order and all that rubbish, they say, oh, we are homeless, so put us somewhere to live. But before they started or they instigated the violence, they were in Kanu, they were in Katsina, they were in Sokoto. They now brought them down to come and occupy people's towns and villages. And Dogara said, no, the Muslims went to work. Now, this is what one of the paragraphs in the advertorial, what I'll read it for you. It says here, this is from a Professor Salisu Shehu. For your information, before the 2011 crisis, there were 3 Jumau mosques and 45 daily prayer mosques in Tafawa Balewa Township. No work, no school, they don't do anything. 45 daily prayer mosques and 2 Jumau mosques. I am sure you may know those figures, but I have no doubt that you know for sure all of these mosques, except the one at the police divisional office, were destroyed and ruined by the people of your faith. The question is, why do you fail to include at least even the central mosque of the family?
Oh no, ho finito i giga. Bisogno di giga? Basta o no? Passa o! Fino a 70 giga a partire da 5,99 € al mese. Ah, e abbiamo anche minuti e SMS illimitati. Oh sì! Scopri di più su o-mobile.it.
Their Juma mosque and their daily prayer room. You will see they raise their green flag and say to hell with all of you. Now, we are sounding, as I've been saying before, every prophecy, every prediction has come to pass. Almost all, bar none, have all come to pass. What did some of you do with it? What did you do with it? They will go and they recruit some idiots, disgruntled fools, chased away because of their hunger. And some other idiots cloned accounts with Igbo names and be talking rubbish. And some of you are busy responding to idiots who don't exist. Feel sorry for some of you, honestly. We are not going to go into what some of our people said, but we know what became of the zoo. SERAP, which is a group, I think is one of the socio-economic rights and accountability project. All they do is just send a letter, isn't it? All they just send a letter. They said it's important to send you this message that electoral-related violence, intimidation, and killing will not be tolerated under your watch. Who is going to police this pronouncement? Every time we are tired, we won't tolerate this. That is not going to happen again. It keeps happening. Today, they have raped and killed one of our mothers in Ebonyi. If we retaliate tomorrow, they will go and they'll run to America, they'll go to Britain. Britain will be the one to tell America, can't you see? IPOB is violent. They killed people in Ebonyi. Can't you see they're violent? But when they raped and killed one of our mothers, nobody complained. Britain will not write to America. The propagandists, their lobbies, the lobbying firm will not write and say, oh, it's very sad that a Biafran woman was raped to death on the 31st, no, on the 30th of December of 2019. No, they will never say that. So what you expect us to do is for IPOB to keep quiet. They rape and kill our mother and we keep quiet. And then they rape another 2, another 3, and we keep quiet. By the time you know it, it's free for all. But when I was saying they were raping our mothers many years ago, some of you never believed it. And I said they will rape, they will abduct, they will kill us, and the world will say nothing. Is that not happening now? That we need to band together as a people and resist this evil before it's too late. And some of you were saying, oh, we are in APC. It's our turn. Some idiots. Please, Buhari, can you give us the presidency? Can you believe such rubbish? As if the presidency is not. So the same nonsense that Azikiwe did, the same rubbish. Test presidency for 4 years and remain a slave for 400 years. That's what they want. Fools. They will never succeed this time. Never, ever succeed. Now, some of you do not know what Sharia is doing in the zoo, but we will proceed. These are the Sharia states. Sokoto, Kebbi, Niger, Zamfara, Katsina, Kanu, Kaduna, Bauchi, Jigawa, Yobe, Borno, Gombe. They have effectively removed themselves from the Constitution of Nigeria because there is nowhere in the Constitution of Nigeria or its amendment where it allows for Sharia. And this is the launch pad of 4 terror groups in West Africa. This is why Northern